Well, as you guys know, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare's life was taken from him in New York as he was going to an annual meeting. And today we're going to talk about one of the new details that just dropped that gives us an insight into what the motive was in this. But I also want to look at the broader issue here and something that we can all take away from this. And considering it happened in New York specifically, makes this even crazier, to be quite honest with you. Now, one thing I want to go ahead and say right off the rip, I've seen a lot of disgusting comments. People are happy this happened and all that kind of stuff. That's not the angle I'm coming from. I've been on the internet a long time. I've seen some messed up stuff, right? I know how people can get when they're behind a keyboard. But at the same time, that's not the angle I'm coming from. I don't want to see anybody ever lose their life like this. I do want to point out, though, that there is a certain anger that is brewing in people over the healthcare system. We'll talk a little bit about that too, and why it angers people to the point of saying they're glad to see something like this happen. So I want to touch on that a little bit as well. We don't see things like this happen. I mean, where you have a clear picture of the guy who did it. He still hasn't been caught. He got away pretty much in broad daylight, and the method in which he did this is all, I mean, it's straight out of a movie scene. So of course, we'll talk about it. I want to hear your opinion. If you agree or disagree, let me know what you think down below. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So UnitedHealthcare is actually one of the biggest companies in the United States. They actually have coverage for over 49 million people, whether that's state-run programs, Medicaid, Medicare, or private insurance, and employer-covered insurance as well. They cover a lot of people. And Brian Thompson, who was the CEO that unfortunately lost his life, has been the CEO since 2021, and he's been with the company all the way back to 2004. Now, this company made something like, I don't know, $281 billion last year. His salary is like $10 million, but that's just what we know about. There was some allegations against him for fraud and insider trading. Apparently, allegedly, he sold some stocks of the company. I don't remember what the percentage was, but it ended up gaining him like $15 million. And so there was an investigation, a jury trial. It's still open, actually, and obviously that's not going to come to fruition. He was one of the people named in this lawsuit. But there's also something else about Brian Thompson. Even though for the most part he laid low, him and his wife had not only been separated for like a year, but she also said that he's been receiving threats for a period of time before this incident occurred. It's kind of interesting because you have a guy making $10 million a year receiving threats in a very controversial environment when it comes to healthcare. Ask anybody that has healthcare. It's either too expensive. The premiums, of course, are, just awful. You have claims that are denied. You have people that literally just, unfortunately, can't pay for certain things, right? Or, they pass away waiting for pre-authorizations. I mean, it really is the necessary evil in our society. And while I don't believe that, going to a government-funded program is the answer at all, because the government sucks at pretty much everything they do, there should absolutely be another system in place. That's why you see so much anger aimed at this particular person, because they're looking at their anti-hero, which is what a lot of people are calling him. They're looking at him as some kind of martyr to hopefully bring some light to how broken the healthcare system is in the United States. Either way, I think we can all agree, no matter if you think it should be government run or you think that the private sector does just fine on its own, but it should be open up across the entire United States, we all can agree that the system is broken. Fortunately, we found out that the assailant wrote 3 words on 3 of the casings that were spent: deny, defend, depose. This echoes something that's popular for people that are critical of insurance agencies, which is delay, deny, and defend. Essentially saying that insurance companies will delay a pre-authorization, they will then deny it, and then they will defend their decision. So you literally have people that watch family members or themselves lay on hospital beds or waiting for care or waiting for this, waiting for that. As many different things that goes on in the healthcare system and as many issues that people have in this country regardless of what that issue is, when you pay for these premiums and then you have people that are literally on their deathbeds waiting for approvals or pre-authorizations or life-saving surgery, this gets people pissed off, especially when you see a loved one pass away because of it. And the biggest thing is getting, the profits are going to stay there, but getting the care back in healthcare where they actually care, where they actually give a shit about you. And I think by him writing that on the casings of the bullets, that's like some James Bond stuff. I mean, that's like some crazy movie plotline type of stuff. And not to mention, he was actually using a suppressed pistol. Now, one thing you will notice in the footage, and of course I can't share it here on YouTube, but one thing you'll notice is after the first shot, you have a jam. Second shot, jam. Third shot, jam, right? Well, he ended up hitting him in the back and in the calf, and then that's when he took off. But he fired 3 rounds. But each time, it was basically a single shot pistol, essentially. And it was almost like he was prepared for it. I mean, he did not hesitate after that first shot went off and he racked the slide. He kind of almost expected that this was going to happen. I almost feel like he knew the ammo wasn't going to run great in the gun with the suppressor that he had attached or something, because like I said, it was flawless. I mean, the timing was of course flawless. He was only there a couple of minutes before Thompson showed up, and within, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, he had got on his e-bike, went to Central Park, changed clothes, got away. He was staying in a hostel next to the Hilton Inn. That's where Thompson was having the meeting, and that's where we have the pictures of his face here. So you have what looks like a movie scene essentially playing out on camera. We see the guy's face, which is really rare. Somebody that uses a suppressor in a crime like this is super rare. The other lesson here is the concealed carry permit process in New York now is actually one that's obtainable thanks to New York Rifle and Pistol Association, the GOA, FPC. These companies have all three in their own way paved the way where New Yorkers can actually get a concealed carry permit. So instead of having to prove why you need one now, right, you can get one with 16 hours of training, 2 hours on the range, passing the test. References, I think you need 4 of them. I have seen some things where you got to give every name of every adult in your house, including adult children, plus having an interview with the licensee. Now, I agree with you if you're saying right now, hey, you still have to ask for permission. That's bullcrap. I agree with you 100%, but at least there's a path for New Yorkers to get a permit now. And while it's not perfect by any means, at least they have that. Now, of course, there's sensitive places, according to New York, like Times Square, hospitals, places like that where you still can't carry even with a permit. But if Brian Thompson had a firearm on him, it could have given him a fighting chance. Remember, I feel like I see this a lot with assailants sometimes in some of these videos where they have a malfunction. These are critical seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, baby, that gives you time to respond to something like this. So I'm not saying that it would have saved his life, but maybe it would have, right? He got hit twice. After that first initial hit, maybe he could have got some shots off from his own carry gun if he had one. We will never know that, though, because he didn't have a carry gun. He didn't have his own private security detail. And I think that's another important thing, right? He could afford that. Most people, including myself, we can't afford private security details. And in a city with tens of millions of people, Tren de Aragua gangs going on, police officers everywhere. In 6:45 in the morning, this guy's life was taken away. What does that mean for you? That means, first of all, having a firearm on you. If you're one that I don't need a firearm, what the heck? Nothing's ever going to happen to me. I'm always out in broad daylight. Don't need it. Or maybe you forget your gun most days at the house. This just goes to show you that if somebody wants to get at you, at the end of the day, if they want to get at you, it doesn't matter who you are, they can absolutely get at you. And staying vigilant at the same time. That's the difference between what could be you going home and you not. That's the reason that I talk and preach about this so much, because that's what I want for myself and that's what I want for y'all, to be able to just get back home, because that's our goal at the end of the day. So I hope that in the whole broad range of lessons we can take from this, that will be one too. If you're somebody like that doesn't take this very serious at all, maybe you will, and especially staying vigilant, right? That's even more crucial sometimes with things like this. Look how quickly this happened. It's pretty crazy. Again, we don't see things like this every single day, but I think this paints a clear picture as to why and some important lessons that we can learn from it. But of course, I want to hear from y'all, man. Whether you agree or disagree with me, doesn't matter. Leave your opinion down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one, and as always, holding down.